Yo, what is good everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Before we kick off anything, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all of my new subscribers for checking out my channel and subscribing. And all the people who have been subscribed since. Again, massive props to all of you for staying there. I've just hit 700 subs. That's a massive milestone for anybody who's trying to start a YouTube channel. Yes, that's big, it's really big. We're going for 1,000 next, guys, so if you haven't seen the other video, check it out. I'll try and put it in the middle here, or wherever it goes. And if you like it, again, yeah, definitely click thumbs up, subscribe. Same with this. If you learn something new in this video, definitely subscribe. I'm going to be doing quite a few videos, you know, with different things like this, stuff I've learned, and stuff I'd like to pass on, so obviously you can do. So in my last video, like I said, I'll put it in the middle. I don't know if you've seen it, I've done it on the slate coasters, where you can basically put an extra colour on top. So instead of the standard grey engraving you get on slate, I did the Guinness beer logo, and I showed you how you can paint the logo gold using the Liquitex gold paint I have. So what we're going to do with this one is very similar to that, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a couple of colours. I say a couple, there's going to be 4 of them. As you can see, I've been asked to make loads of these. I've been asked if I can do it. I said, let me find out. Done a few tests, and it turns out I could do it, and it turned out really nice. Don't know if you know what this is. This is the Welsh flag for the country of Wales. If you can't tell with the accent already, I am Welsh, and that's my country's flag. So, yeah, the main reason I'm going to be showing you with this is because we're going to be using 4 colours. You've got the bottom, the green, the white, the top, the dragon, the red dragon, and the outline as well. So let me just get a focus. And then the outline of everything's black then as well. So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on it, show you. So we're using this scrap piece of wood. I've done a few different things, a few different tests here. I've done it with the black outline, without the black outline. I've done it with acrylic pens. So you get these like acrylic pen markers. So I tried it with them. So that was that one. That one turned out really well. I was happy with that. This was just some random paint I did have lying around the shop. I didn't have the right colours at the time. These are with these. I bought these just for this job. So there was like a pack of 10 for a couple of quid on Amazon. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Yeah, I tried lots of different things. And this one I did with the airbrush. The only problem with doing it with an airbrush, I've only got one airbrush. And when you've got to do, you know, 4 colours, you've got to clean out the well, add another one. It's a massive pain. So I've gone with using these, in like your local, you know, cheap shop, your pound shop or whatever, your dollar shop, whatever you are. You get these like kids paintbrushes that come in like a pack of what, 10 or 20, and you get these sponge ones. And these sponge ones I found are the best to do this with, because you've got a lot more control on how much paint you're putting on there. Because with using the masking tape, it's not the strongest, and it can bleed under. So with this one, for instance, I don't know if you can see it there, but yeah, the red paint did bleed under there a bit. I did that with a brush, not these foam ones. These foam ones give you a lot more control. So yeah, we're going to get into it. There's a couple of steps we're going to be doing. So I'll just explain how you do it. So with this image, for example, as you can often say, it's got the 4 different colours. What I had to do was I copy and pasted the image onto the internet. I took it into Photoshop, and then I basically isolated each individual colour into its own layer. So I just selected the red, put it in its own layer, green, white, and the black outline. So yeah, and obviously I took that then, I took each one of them into Inkscape and just created an outline to the engraving. Because what you need to do, you need to mask it off with a bit of masking tape. Mask it off, do your cuts. So basically I done some cuts for the outline of the dragon and the middle of the flag, so then I can just peel the mask off, paint that single bit, and then do again for the white bit, and then again for the dragon, just so you haven't got to paint each individual bit, being careful. So you can just mask it, cut what you need to cut, peel it off and paint. It'll make a lot more sense as I'm going through it. If you haven't got Photoshop, there's the best, as far as I know, is the best free alternative called GIMP, G-I-M-P. Yeah, pretty much does, well, not everything the same, but it allows you to do what you need to in this. If you'd like to see like a video on it, put it down in the comments, let me know. I'll make a video, even if just one of you asks, I'll make it. But I'm just going on the assumption, you know, people know how to do this. So yeah, I'll show you the images I'll be doing as we're going, just to give you an idea of it. But yeah, it's just importing it into the laser cutter just so it knows where to cut to create the mask. So yeah, a couple of steps. What I'm going to do first of all, as you can probably see here, there's a lot of white paint. With the wood, because the wood's got a grain, when you're putting the masking tape on, the paint, it can bleed into the grain, so it'll bleed into other parts of the images. So the best way I got around this was to put like a base, like a primer layer down. So with that, I was using white because, just squeezing some into it. Yeah, just because it's the lightest color. I've already got white in my image, but it's the lightest color, so you can paint over it with any other color. So I'll do this one, I'll do it over here. Again, I'll just be doing, this is just a little rough, and this isn't gonna be one of the many I've got to make. This is just to show you exactly the steps I took to make this. So yeah, again, you can do this on slate, you know, whatever you can engrave, you can do it with, but with slate, you won't have to put this base layer down because obviously it hasn't really got a grain to it, is it? So yeah, you'll be fine. And again, it doesn't take long to dry, but I just use a heat gun just to speed things up, just try and keep the video shorter, and just why I don't want to keep starting it. It only needs to be thin, so yeah, it's just 2 thin layers I'll put down. I'll still do the white bit of the flag. So you can probably tell by the way I'm holding the paintbrush, I'm not the best painter in the world. But yeah, I'm just slapping this on, just like I said, just so it acts as a primer. So it's going to fill in them the tiny little gaps in the grain. This is step number 1 now, so just putting the base on. You haven't got to do this, but I found this is probably the best way to stop it from bleeding into the other layers. If you're not going to be using, if you're not using an airbrush, it works. You don't need to do this. It just works. The airbrush is just great. That was a terrible tape. Let me try again. Right. So next step now, pop the masking tape on. And just make sure it's stuck down nicely. So I'm just going to be doing my cut here. Obviously, you do it whatever you want to do it. Again, this works for anything. Like this one's going to be 4 colors. You can do loads. You can do hundreds of colors. Completely up to you what image you're going to be doing. But as I'll show you with this one because it's not too complex enough to confuse anyone, but it's complex enough to show you the ins and outs of it. Right. So I'm happy with that. That's stuck down. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pop this into the laser cutter. One thing you're going to need on your laser cutter, so with the cheap K40 machines, which is what I got, you just get a bed. You don't get like a certain place where you can constantly stick the same piece of material, so you'll constantly be cutting out the same lines. You just pop it on there and you just let it cut the job. So what I've made is I've got little holders in the corner. They're glued down with just hot glue. And I put this down and it's going to cut it in the same place every single time. You'll see what I mean now when I go to the laser cutter, and I'll show you what I mean. And you're just going to need this basically. So I'm just going to stop this and go onto foam cam. So we'll switch over now. Okay, first of all, excuse the mess. I had a big job cutting some acrylic. That is just all in the bottom. Bit of a fire hazard, but we'll be fine for what we're doing here. So as I said, I've got these, just lent on the off button. I've got these little corner pieces here. I 3D modeled and 3D printed them, and it just allows me to put my piece of wood or material in the same place every time. Because you are 100% gonna need something like this. Because when you cut the mask, you're gonna be doing your painting, you're gonna be peeling the masking tape off, you'll have to remask it, and then put it back in to do the cut in the exact same place. So where the dragon is, that gets masked glass, so I can paint it red. And yeah, I just need to make sure it's in the same place every single time. Let me know in the comments again if you would like the file. It's on one of my computers somewhere, so you can 3D print it yourself. If you haven't got a 3D printer, I'm sure I can design it to be made on the laser cutter. And actually, all you need to do, like I said, just hot glue it down the size of an A4 piece of paper, and you'll have this to go in the same place every single time. Okay, right, so let me just show you the files, just to see if this makes a bit more sense, as it is quite confusing. So I've done the outline, so this is the first one. So the laser cutter obviously is going to cut the masking tape where the red line is, so I can peel the bottom bit off, but the dragon will remain there. And again, I can peel the top bit off and the dragon will remain there, so I don't paint anywhere in the red. So we're going to cut this now, and we'll be back in a moment. Alright, there we go, we're back. So as you can see, it's done a very quick engrave of the shape we made. So now all I need to do is, I'm going to be using a Stanley blade to be doing this. I don't recommend this because you can hurt yourself with one of these, trust me. If you do use one, be really careful. But you're going to need something like tweezers or something to do your weeding, which means just, you know, pulling off the bit of the mask. So we're going to be doing just the bottom bit first, where the green is going to go. So I can just pull the corner up there, and I can just peel that away, and it'll just remain, it'll leave the mask on where the dragon is, because we've designed the file to do so. And I'm trying to explain this as easy as possible, because to somebody who doesn't really know too much about doing multicolor and masking and stuff, it can be quite complicated. But once you've done this once, you'll be a pro at it, I guarantee you. Right, so what we're going to do now, so we're going to get our green paint first of all. I've got this little, let me take all the little brushes out, because there's this cheap little tray I'm putting my paints in, and I'm just using these little dabbers just to get a lot more control with it. So I just need a drop. All I need for this is a drop, because it's only small. And I'm just going to dab it on. So I said, with painting with a masking tape, it's not very reliable. You'll know if you have done painting and decorating, and it tends like you put it up for a straight line and you see like it just never comes out how you think it would, because it bleeds slightly under the masking tape. So that's what we're trying to avoid here. So that's why we're doing light coats. As if you had an airbrush, it's simple. You just do your airbrushing on. Spray paint, again, same, just a light coat. But because I didn't want to fork out loads of money for individual spray cans, and I didn't really want to do this outside because the weather in Wales, where I am at the moment, it's not the best. So, inspect the work. I'm happy with that. Okay, then I'm just gonna heat it up with the heat gun. Again, you haven't got a heat gun, just leave it sit for a couple of minutes. Right, so with this next bit now, depends on how complex your job is. But with this next bit, I'm just going to remove the top bit of the mask there. And because it's a perfectly straight line between the white and the green, I haven't got to take it all off and remask. I'm just going to take this top bit off, where I'm going to be painting it white. And I'm just going to remask it. As I said, if yours is a lot more complicated than this, remask the whole thing and do, you know, step one again, remasking, cutting it out where you need to. But I said, with this, because it's a perfectly straight line, I don't need to do that. Let me just get a little bit out of the tail. Sorry, I keep pulling it away from the camera. I'm just pulling it as close as I can to my face, just so I can see these small bits, because there's tiny little bits inside the mouth. I just need to get out with the razor blade. Here we go. So now we can paint white. I know we've already done the white as like the base, the primer layer, but I'm just doing this again just to get a better finish on it. I am happy with that. Heat gun again. And let's just dry that. So you see these little bits here where the masking tape was just pulled up. It's just because I didn't let the green dry long enough. If you're doing this as a job for someone, yeah, you're going to want to obviously let it dry fully, but I'm trying to keep the video as short as possible. So yeah, but it's fine. Still looks alright. So we've got that bit. All we need to know, we're going to take all the masking tape off, and then we're going to remask it now to do the dragon. So the last bit of masking's left there is on the dragon itself. So we're going to pull that away. I believe that is all of it. Yes, it is. So I know it doesn't look too much like what it's supposed to yet, but here's the next step. So now we've taken all the masking tape off, we're remasking again. So masking tape back on top. So this is where in Photoshop now we've isolated the red dragon itself, and that is going to be a separate cut file now altogether. So I'm just going to load it up on the computer, and we're going to go back over the phone cam to the laser just to show you this next step. Okay, so as I mentioned last time, you'll need something to put them in the same place all the time. You know, if you want to keep it simple, you can just work out where your piece needs to be. So the top left's in the top left corner. I just get a black marker and just draw a square. At least you'll know you'll be putting in the same place each time then. But this is probably the best way, just so you know there's no error. And you know, if you're doing a big file scene, if you were doing 50 of these on one and you were like a millimeter out, it's not going to look right. So right, so we've got it masked up now. We've got the file loaded, so this time it's just the dragon, so it's going to cut out that on the masking tape, and then we'll just be able to peel that away and then paint that red. So again, once this is done, we'll be back in a moment. Alright, and we're back. So try to get this in focus for you. So this time it's just come out with the machine, and it's just laser cut on the masking masking tape. I keep on the paper. I mean, it is technically, but it's masking tape. You can see it's just cut out the dragon. So what we're going to do now, just going to weed that bit out. And there we go, come out in one piece. Let me pop in there, look, and you can watch us. No. There we go. So yeah, regarding like power and speed and stuff to do this, each machine is obviously different. But I just go a really low power, just enough power. If you have like a lining machine, you know, you've got your masking tape to do the dots and etc. Just use the lowest power you can get to mark a masking tape, and just put it up like half a percent, maybe 1% higher, just so you know it's cutting through perfectly. And yeah, speed, I go with the vector cut, I go 40 millimeters per second, so nice and quick. You don't want to mark the wood too much. Okay, there we go. Get nice and light, don't really want to go too heavy. But so if you're just going to follow this exactly and you want to use something like this, just get a kitchen sponge and just experiment with it. So as I said, you don't want to go heavy. The lighter the better. Looks good to me. So dry this quickly. Now we're going to get a lovely crisp dragon here now. If you want this file as well for the Welsh Dragon, again, let me know in the comments, and I'll show you where to get it. There we go. Right, so for the last color now, which is going to be black, there's two ways to do this. I mean, it can depend on the wood and stuff like that. So with this one, I created an outline of the black and I painted it, same with that one. With this one, I didn't, I just let the machine burn it, but with this wood I've got, it doesn't burn that dark, if that makes sense. When you engrave, it's just not that dark. So yeah, certain types of woods, certain machines will do it absolutely fine. You know, there's things you can do to the wood and treat it so your burns will come out darker. So for this, I'm not going to do the burn, I'm going to do the actual painting of black between the lines. But to do the outline, like I said, if you've got wood that does burn dark in the laser cutter, yeah, you don't need to do the black, you just let it do what it does and it'll be fine. Right, so it's going to load out the machine. We're going to go back to phone cam now. We're going to mask him up first. Let me dry it again because I know I put it on a little bit thick, so it's not 100% dry. But yeah, if you're doing this and you're finding the masking tape is pulling off the paint, you just let your paint cure for a little bit longer. So this just needs to be big enough to cover the dragon. Again, so back into the little box that we've made, just so the lines are going to be cut exactly where we need to. So that's in there. So with this one, so the other ones they were vector lines. So this is going to be a raster engrave. So basically the lines are going to be a lot crisper and smoother. So it's going to come exactly like that. So with this one, you go much faster with higher power, but not too high. You just want enough to go through the masking tape. So obviously you're going to paint it over the end. So we're just going to pop this on now. It takes a little bit longer, but we'll be back in a moment. Okay, right, so we are now back out of the laser cutter. So it's done the, let me see if I can get that on focus there. So it's done the lines. They said if your wood burns darker, you're not really going to need to paint it black because it's obviously already going to be black. So that'll be your fourth color. But with this wood, I've done nothing to like treat it or nothing to let it, because I know you can use like bicarb soda and stuff to get a darker burn on it. That's just a scrap piece of wood. With my other ones I'll be making, I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to treat them just so it does burn darker. So, but for this one, this example, yeah, I'm just going to be using the paint to get in there. So I'm just going to block it in. Block it in, I don't know if that's the right term, but right, so yeah, let's peel that away first. I was expecting less to come away, but again, this is why we use the duct tape. Let's get the last bits off. %60 of the time this works every time. Turn to 3D. I don't know what was done there. That's made a cracking pattern on there, mind. But yeah, this masking tape stuck good. Ugh. But yeah, there we go. That is a 4-color pattern design done on a cheap K40 machine. We don't want any laser engraver, obviously, but the fact that cheap thing that cost what, £200-300 give results like this, absolutely fantastic. What I will do, we've got one more step, and that's just to cut it out. So for this, I've just got a simple rectangle, the exact size of that, pop it in the machine, and it's just going to cut it out perfect again every single time. So I'll pop this in there, we'll get that complete. So again, if you've made it this far in the video, guys, thank you very much. I do genuinely hope you've learned something here. And if you're new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to have some fantastic videos coming up soon. I think my next video is going to be, I've got a request for some, what are they called, coasters. And I've got loads of silicone, and basically someone wants me to make them some silicone coaster molds, if that's the right term. But yeah, silicone used to be my thing. I did loads of silicone stuff before I did laser engraving. Basically my silicone molds I used to make paid for the laser cutter. So I'm going to do a video next, I think, on that, on basically how to make the design, how to cut it out, how to then use silicone to cast your own molds, and obviously then you can recast inside of those molds yourself then. So yeah, that's going to be the next video. So definitely subscribe now, click the bell icon. It's there somewhere, or that way. And yeah, I really do appreciate it, guys. So I'm going to pop this into the machine now to cut this out. There we go. Easy as that. So much better than that one. Yeah, that was done with the airbrush and that was done with the acrylic paint, so I much prefer that one. The colours are much more vivid. It just stands out a lot more. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's my tutorial on how to do, you know, full colour laser engraving, if you will. So yeah, like I said, hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video, which I'll try and get up as soon as possible, because I'll be making them in the week. So I'll try and get the video. I'll try and get another video done maybe weekly. I'll try and go into weekly or maybe twice a week. And at least then, you know, more stuff for you to watch, to learn. And yeah, everyone's a winner. So again, thank you very much, guys. You all take care.